Stop in and visit them soon. And a good morning. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show. Recently, there was the NHL draft held out in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken. And as we probably all know, if we follow Saginaw Spirit Hockey, we had probably the best player in the league on our team in the name of Michael Misa. He went number 2 because the Islanders, who picked first, really needed a defenseman and got one. But we're going to talk about that this morning and more. First of all, we say good morning to the president and managing partner of the Saginaw Spirit. He is Craig Goslin.
Good morning, Art. It's a great day today.
And you brought company. What's the matter?
I did.
You're not assured of what you're doing.
I brought Bob Martin to kind of acclimate him with the Art Lewis Show.
Oh,
yeah.
Why did we do that?
Well,
Pray tell.
Well, Bob is a new member of our staff, and we're just really excited to have Bob part of us, and he's going to be taking some of the duties of Kay Pankow, and as she continues to threaten retirement.
Yeah,
and,
2 more years.
Yeah.
I told her out at the Dow Championship.
And with Jimmy Green and Bob Martin and the staff we're in really good hands here. So
if, I told Kay, I said, I heard you're down to 2 days a week. I said, that's the wrong 2. It's 2 more years. But I've been telling her that for 5.
So your listeners understand she's the number 1 sales rep in the history of the Canadian hockey. There are 60 teams, and we've been around since 1919. Nobody has sold more sponsorship than Kay Pankow. So she's the GOAT, and certainly she's threatening retirement.
Okay.
I keep hanging on with all I got. Yeah.
In that case, good luck, Bob.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I've got my work cut out for me.
What's your background?
So I've been in business technology sales for the past 27 years. Xerox Corporation for 20 years, and then most recently with the Applied Innovation out of Grand Rapids,
absolutely,
Michigan. Yeah. So I spent about 5 years with that fantastic company. I'm originally from Saginaw. I moved to Grand Rapids back in the late 90s, competed against Applied. It was Applied Imaging back then. And, that I admired that company the whole time I was competing against them. And my wife and I decided to move back to Saginaw. We reached out to them, and they brought us on. And the reason being is I knew that they would really come to the table and take good care of our community here in the Great Lakes Bay region, and boy, they did not disappoint.
Did you bring them here?
I did not bring them here. They were here before I started. They weren't very well known. They had just kind of started, probably a few years before my time back here. But I tell you, just going out in the community, they gave me the autonomy and time to go out and meet a lot of wonderful people, and Craig Goslin is one of those people. The Applied Innovation was a big sponsor, continues to sponsor the Saginaw Spirit, and
a great client.
Yep, just was kind of time to get out of business technology, and what better place to be than with Saginaw Spirit and this fine organization.
So, Bob, what do you know about hockey?
So, well,
about as much as everybody else did.
Yeah. So I had the privilege of attending numerous Saginaw Gears games when I was a child because my parents had 4 season tickets. So
you were a DeRozier fan.
I was a huge DeRozier fan. And Marcel Como.
And Marcel, sure, absolutely.
I like Marcel and Dennis DeRozier. But you know what? I was a big fan. I think back to all the memories I had as a child with my family at the Saginaw Gears, and that really is, that to me is what the Saginaw Spirit encapsulates, is just the fun, the getting together with family, getting together with friends, and just having a great time and forgetting about life for a minute, Well,
the Gears were my introduction to Saginaw. I came here in 1974, and I flew in the end of 73 for an interview. I was picked up by the program director. He says, well, before I take you to the hotel, we got to make a stop. Okay. The stop was down at the then Civic Center, up on the catwalk to watch the Gears play hockey.
That was one of your
that
first.
That was my introduction to Saginaw.
How about that? I did not know that, Art.
That was my introduction to Saginaw.
Wow.
And, you
Wow.
come to realize what a hockey town this has been over the years.
It really is.
Yeah,
We have great fans.
I got to witness both Turner Cup championships. I was present at both of them. We were on the
Yep.
ice for one of them, walking around with the players. It was just a ball.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, speaking of players, as I mentioned in Los Angeles, the NHL draft, we done did good, Guy.
Yeah, we did, Art. And Michael Misa went second overall. I think the New York Islanders, over time, they needed, like you said earlier, needed a defenseman. They took Matthew Schaefer. But this is a generational talent. And we've been saying that since he came here. He was an exceptional status player when he came to Saginaw as a 15-year-old, leaving us now more than likely as an 18-year-old going to the NHL. He set all Connor McDavid's records off, Sidney Crosby's records in our league. And it won't surprise me a bit if he does the same thing in the NHL.
I had to chuckle during the ceremony because Schaefer's name is called and he does his thing. By the way, I didn't like that format that much.
I think that's the last you'll see of that,
Yeah.
by the way. I think Gary Bettman was not pleased.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Schaefer goes up, does his thing. And the commentators, now they get to Misa. They're talking about Misa. And they're pretty much saying he's the best player.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he goes number 2,
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It didn't make any sense. It was so contradictory. But
Yeah.
I understood the Islanders
Yeah.
really needed what Schaefer had. And so they did what they did for their team.
They did. I think they'll regret it, but it's a he landed in one fantastic spot with San Jose. Igor Chernyshov, one of our forwards, is there. And our former captain Braden Hache is there. So a lot of familiar faces there, and he's gonna thrive in that San Jose system with all those young, talented players.
We talked about this off the air, but everybody asks, okay, will we see him again in Saginaw?
I would say that it's 30% yes and 70% no. I mean, he's that good. But the only thing you could say is
His age may be a detriment.
well, I think he's young, and his entry level contract, they get, so your listeners understand, they get 3 years of an entry level contract where they pay them the rookie minimum. In that fourth year, that's when they get paid the big bucks. San Jose is going to look at that and say, all right, should we start paying him his first year of his entry level contract when we're not a contender? And that's going to play a role. That's the only way we'd get him back. I mean, he's good enough to play in the top 6 forwards for San Jose right now. There's no question about that. So we'll see what happens.
And there's a certain friend of yours who now is out in that part of the world by the name of Ken Holland.
Yes.
What does he think of all this?
Well,
'Cause
Ken,
he's at a different team.
yeah, he's
but-
with the LA Kings now. He's a GM of the LA Kings, and they drafted Christian Epperson, one of our forwards. And Christian has committed to the University of Denver for next year, which has been disappointing to all of us. But we got Ken gonna talk to him and see what happens. Maybe we get Epperson back too, but more than likely not.
That's an interesting topic. He's committed to the university. How much did the NIL play in that?
Well, it's not necessarily the NIL. It's the fact that they opened up the NCAA.
Well, and you can. I mean,
They,
NCAA had to, But all of that is due because they, brought in this NIL.
They did.
Portal.
Yeah, and so your listeners understand, the NCAA always consider our players professionals, even though they're not getting paid. They're getting a stipend, basically, because we have a number of players in our league that are already signed to NHL contracts, so it tainted the entire field in their eyes. Well, since NIL came along, they had no leg to stand on. They had to make our players eligible for the NCAA. So now our players can come here at 16. They can leave at 18 or 19 and go to the NCAA, play for Michigan or University of Denver, like Christian Epperson is doing, or they can go right into the American League. So,
But, the thing about that, if it's not for the NIL, do they get scouted any better at the university level than they do at the OHL level?
No chance. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is 19? The NCAA is not a 19-year-old development program. It's outstanding hockey. You don't misinterpret. Western Michigan, for example, last year's national champion.
Right.
Their defense was 23 years old last year, average. The Chicago Blackhawks defense averaged 22 years old. It's not a 19-year-old development program. So a 19-year-old is going to go into the NCAA unless he's elite. If he is, he's going to the NHL, by the way. So that player is not likely going to be an NCAA candidate. But if he does go there as a 19-year-old, he's likely to get 7 or 8 minutes a game. No power play time, no penalty kill time, all that stuff. Where in our league, that 19-year-old is a star.
You get to do it all.
Yeah, and he plays it all and he develops. And that's where you see with the Saginaw Spirit, you see our kids developing into pros.
All right, we'll have more. We'll be back with our guests, Craig Goslin, Bob Martin from the Saginaw Spirit. Let me ask how you slept last night, because we're asked to do more for less these days. So when you go to bed, you spend third of your life there, at least you should. You need quality sleep, and you can get it with a quality mattress from Sanitary Mattress. Now, you can visit all the so-called sleep stores, so you can rest assured the mattress you're using is manufactured right here in the Great Lakes Bay region to your specifications. Your dollars are spent, and they stay right here in our local economy. Your time in bed may be cut short by today's demanding world, but don't be fooled. You can still get a quality good night's sleep on a Sanitary mattress. And they feature a 1-hour delivery window of your mattress to your home, so you don't have to wait around all day. By the way, if you have an RV or a boat, Sanitary Mattress will custom make a mattress to your exact size. Something the box stores can't do. Visit Sanitary Mattress Factory and Showroom, serving this area since 1935. Set your GPS to 5343 Janes Road in Saginaw, just east of the Harry Brown Airport. Visit them on the web at sanitarymattress.com or call them at 989-753-1757. Sanitary Mattress.
It could be the best years of...
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW in studio with us, Craig Goslin, who is the president and managing partner of the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club, Bob Martin, who is new to the organization, but not new to the area.
Not at all.
Not at all. So we're talking about the NHL draft, and there were some other Spirit candidates that could have been drafted.
Yep.
Maybe next year.
Yep. Well, you look at Christian Epperson got drafted by the LA Kings, and Cloutier.
Did you have conversations with Ken Holland before that happened?
I've had multiple conversations with Ken Holland.
I kind of thought so.
Yeah. Lots of encouragement, not just with Cloutier, but with all of our players. And Epperson, but Cloutier got drafted by Winnipeg. So we had 3 players drafted. We also had 5 other players that were invited to NHL camps. Dave Drinkle worked the phones right afterwards. A lot of them calling. We had multiple teams wanted our guys at camp, so you could tell this group of players were right on the edge of being drafted. When Nick Seema is going to go Columbus camp, Carson Harmer is going to the Utah camp, Hayden Barch is going to Toronto, Xander Valeris is going to Vancouver, and Josh Glavin's got multiple choices right now as to what camp he's going to attend. So we've got 5 other players. So this year's version of the Saginaw Spirit is going to be massively talented, regardless if we have Misa and Breck back.
My problem is the first few games of the season, these kids are all going to be elsewhere.
Well, that could be the
Lots
case.
of cases,
Well, the rookie camp is prior to that, so the rookie camp is actually now. So in the next couple of weeks, and then the main camp, we'll see some of these kids. You're right; they may get invited to main camp. Then we'll miss them for the first few games of the year. But all the teams go through it, and it's part of the development process. And I guess we're really proud of Dave Drinkle, Chris Lazary, the entire group that's developing these players. Saginaw's become an elite destination for development of players. And with the Memorial Cup championship, and we had 2 players that were on the first team CHL All-Star team. Now there's 60 players. There's 1,340 players in the Canadian Hockey League. The Saginaw Spirit had 2 of them in the top 5.
Yep.
Shows you the amount of development going on here in Saginaw. Austin Sadler, our strength and conditioning coach, all these guys that have worked. Andrew Platt, Lester too, our equipment manager, and our strength and our athletic trainer. These guys are committed. They're the best of the best, and it shows in the development of the players.
And these guys, we should point this out too, because these guys are the best of the best in the Ontario Hockey League, which means the NHL's sitting there waiting for them.
No question.
How many do you lose, and how often do you lose them because of that?
You talk about staff? Yeah. Oh, no question. Right now, I mean, they're after our staff actually. So eventually, and that's what it's all about. We're about developing players. It's interesting you should mention that. About 80% of the referees in the National Hockey League came out of our league, came out of the Canadian Hockey League, right? Something like 65% plus of the athletic trainers.
Yeah, it's development
the
for
equipment
everybody.
managers. I mean, you go down the line, the coaches, the assistant coaches, the large majority came out of the Canadian Hockey League. Why? Because it's the best development league in the world. We play 68 games as a mini version of the NHL, and that's why we're going to continue to thrive now and in the future.
What's the health of the league itself?
Best year we ever had. We had largest attendance by far last year in the Ontario Hockey League. The franchises are very healthy, and there's real stringent requirements to become an owner in this league. The owners have got to be able to sustain losses because most of the franchises are not profitable. Then the Saginaw Spirit, we're right on the edge of profitability. Dick Garber owns the team, obviously, and he's doing this for the community, not for profitability.
That was for your benefit.
I can
Bob.
assure you that. I can assure you that. We see the finances every week, but it costs us a little over $5 million to operate the team, and that's about what we generate in revenue. So Dick does this for the community.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but it's been paying back great economic dividends.
Always chuckled when Ren Blair was pushing the idea. And I think if I got it right, he told Dick, it'll cost you about $1.5 million a year to run it. Oops.
Yeah, that's just to turn the key to get the door open. Yeah. No, it's over $5 million now to operate the team, and so that's a big ask.
People need to understand a lot of that has to do with the college package, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, our players all get you're right. That's the largest item in our budget. Actually, is future education package for each player. We have to set aside the money for them to go to the university closest to their home. If they don't sign a professional hockey contract.
It's a year for every year they played. Right?
That's correct. For every year they play, they get a year of university tuition, books, and the whole works. So it's a great package. It's the best of both worlds. They can come here, and they can do their best. It's the best development program in the world to be an NHL player. And if they don't make it, they get an education package, a scholarship package for 4 years, all wrapped up waiting for them. It's a marvelous opportunity.
And the other thing that happened during our Memorial Cup year was a new commissioner was introduced to the OHL. How's he doing?
Brian Crawford is knocking it out of the park. Now, he came to us from golf. He was the commissioner of the Canadian PGA Tour.
Yep.
And knocked that out, and he's been incredible. The amount of business development. That's one of the reasons our attendance was an all-time high last year. He's a business guy. Now we're surrounding him with a hockey guy as well. Right now he's in the process of hiring a top hockey person to be the work under him. Because he's not a hockey guy, right? And he's a business guy, and he's done an incredible job in the a little over a year that he's been in the seat as our commissioner. Brian Crawford is tremendous.
The other question, I know you hear this all the time. I hear it all the time, and that is, when does the Memorial Cup return to Saginaw?
Well,
now there is. Yeah. I mean, realistically, there's 60 teams, and they're all vying for the Memorial Cup, and it doesn't happen year after year, but it can happen again, can't it?
It definitely will happen again. I mean, we'll do all we can. In 2030, 2027, it comes back to the Ontario Hockey League. Every 3 years, it comes into our league because we have 3 leagues and it alternates between the 3 leagues. So in 2027, obviously, we're not going to bid for 2027. Those bids are going out right now, by the way. And for 2030, we'll definitely put ourselves in position to bid again. And the way this community hosted the Memorial Cup, just like they did this past weekend, those that attended the Dow Championship saw the finest presentation of an LPGA event on their entire tour.
The girls love it.
Oh, yeah. The girls will tell you this is the best the event on the tour. And that's what our community does. Our community gets behind it. I was so impressed to see the regionalization at the Dow Championship this past weekend. We had the same thing with the Memorial Cup. All 3 regions, the 400,000 people there in the Great Lakes Bay region, participated in supporting the Memorial Cup and the Dow Championship and the Loons and the Spirit. That's what makes us great. It makes us great is when we all work together.
Well, when it comes time to apply, it's only going to take one sheet of paper, and the only thing on that piece of paper is C2024.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the owners in our league, by the way, have highly encouraged us to bid again because it was very good for the owners, and it was really good for the brand. The brand saw that final game, Saginaw against London last year, saw a record television audience and an amazing amount of positive impressions for the OHL and the Canadian Hockey League because of that game and the way it ended with 21.7 seconds to go. So, yeah, amazing what that's done for our league and our brand.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, chat with our guest, Craig Goslin, Bob Martin from the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club.
Hey, it's Charlie Roode here on Double.
Hospitality to all these folks that are coming to these games and just making sure they're having a great time. That means a lot to me, and that's really
with that attitude, you'll win because that's the word that Craig likes to hear, hospitality. I mean,
absolutely.
The Spirits, since the beginning, have created a fan experience.
Well, it is all about the fans. It's about people. We want people when they park their car at the Dow Event Center and they walk in, they have a great experience when they park their car. They have a great experience walking in. They get welcomed in the atrium. They feel that they're at a destination, a place, but they're extremely welcome. And that's what Bob's role is going to be, he and Jimmy Green. You couldn't get better welcoming committee in the planet than those 2 guys. So we're excited to have Bob Martin as part of our staff, and he's going to do an incredible job with the low seating, with the suites, all those things. Those folks too. We're going to be ensuring that we step up our service there as well.
Absolutely. And we assume that Kay eventually is going to retire out. She said she's wanted to for
I'm
years
not
now.
gonna accept that, but
I understand that.
Yeah.
But she is one of those folks. I mean, some of the staff has been there a long time.
Since we started, I mean, we have
Yeah,
Lindsay
there were 4 of
McDougal,
us, right?
myself, and Brian Prout. We've been there for all 24 years. And you look at
Me too.
and Art Lewis. That's right. The longevity of the staff is incredible. And you know what it comes down to is we hire great people. We hire good people, and we give them a good experience as part of the Saginaw spirit. And it's the Dick Garber way. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and I think that's what happens with the staff is they really enjoy their jobs.
And we should point out that translates into the locker room, because in the same way that you hire employees with those characteristics, drinks, drafts, kids with those same characteristics.
Yeah, Dick and I don't get involved in the hockey operations. Just so you know, owners own. No, we really don't. And owners own. Managers manage. Coaches coach. I'm not sure who said that, but the only thing we do get involved in is we ensure that Dave Drinkle and his scouting staff that they draft and they bring in players with character and talent. And that's Dave Drinkle's way. I mean, he's out there looking for players. If the player does not have strong character and strong values, they're not in our dressing room. If once in a while one that kind of makes his way in, he's not here very long. And because we're going to surround those players with players just like him that have strong character and outstanding talent. And that's been the secret to our success, quite frankly, is Dave Drinkle's his ability to see that within players and bring them into our system.
And and Dave and Laz been there now about as long as anybody's been there.
Yeah, they're the second longest duo in our league, next to the Hunter brothers. And they own
really?
the
In
team.
the league?
Yeah,
And
I think there may be the Oshawa team too, but no, the Oshawa, their head coach, they let him go last year. So we're Chris Lazar, our head coach, and our GM Dave Drinkle are one of the longest tenured GM head coaches in the Ontario Hockey League.
And that, I guess that's good news, bad news. And the bad news side of it is, the NHL's looking.
No question. Chris Lazary was the assistant coach on the Hockey Canada's World Junior team last year. He's on the radar. Dave Drinkle, he also is management with Hockey Canada. So yeah, they're on the radar. But you know what? This is home for them. Both of them have got home. Both of them. Right now, Dave Drinkle's wife Charlie is expecting in August, and this is all good to keep them here. We hope they keep having children and putting them in school. And
they're great schools.
Yeah, exactly. So that's and of course Chris Lazary's daughters are just gorgeous, and they're here in school as well. So all that stuff plays a role.
What's impressive about it, and we'll see Drinks, and I'm sure he's going to be the same way. But Laz, the thing that has always impressed me about Laz, is the kind of father he is.
Fantastic.
I see him just light up when he sees his daughter sitting in the stand. He's just that kind of guy. It's almost a tale of two Lazes. On the one side is the hockey coach, and look out because he's a hockey coach. And then you have Laz the person. It's a whole different world.
He is. He's a wonderful person.
He's
got the heart the size of the earth, and you don't see that when he's coaching. Right?
No. He's passionate.
Yeah.
But when you saw it.
Yeah.
You saw it when that goal went in at the Memorial Cup.
You did.
And he's on that bench jumping up and down with the other coaches.
Yeah.
It's the first time you really saw him emote.
Yes, I agree.
From the play.
And Chris Lazary's got a talent that I think is very difficult to duplicate. And that's where in today's world it's difficult to do this with the kids today, is he holds the players accountable and they respect him. At the same time, he tells them he loves them, right? So he could get all over a player on something that did wrong or didn't follow the system correctly, and then within a couple minutes later he's got his arm around, telling him he loves them, right? And so that's that I guess that balance that he has, and why the players like playing for him. The players will go through a wall for him, right? And they say, okay, why do they play so hard for a guy that gets on them so hard, right? And because of that real reason is that they know they respect him, and they also know that he loves them, and he does. It's true.
And he and Drinks have another passion, analytics.
Yeah.
Beyond me, I don't understand it, but boy, are they into the analytics.
Yeah, they know the numbers, and you can't fool them. A player can't fool them either, and they know when a player is taking a shift off. They see it on the video. They do more video than any team in our league. I'm sure of that. I mean, and they keep that's where they hold the players accountable. They'll show them. And Laz does his own video with the guys. He brings them in one-on-one and says, "Hey, listen, here's 2 of your shifts. We can't have that. Right? This is what you got to do. Here's your 4 you did really, really well. Right? Let's duplicate those. Right? And he's very good at that. And players love to see that, and they develop, and you see by the end of the season, that's where our system's complicated. That Laz teaches. So it takes the players a while to get there. That's why early in the season you see a lot of odd man rushes against us. But then as the season goes along, the players connect the dots, and by the end of the season, they're in groove together.
All right, one last break, and we'll be back to finish up with our guests.
They're on sale now at the Saginaw Spirit store at 5789 State Street. You can just go to SaginawSpirit.com. But we're having a record year in renewals for season tickets, and we expect this to be a real exciting year at the Dow Event Center.
See, understand, Bob, if I didn't ask that question, you'd never talk to me again.
Thank you, Art.
Us all.
We do appreciate you very much. Art's been part of our staff for 24 years, so it's been an honor, Art. And one of the first things we did was brought Art Lewis in to help us out, and it's been really great for all of us.
Yeah, it's fun.
And he's my mentor too. I run.
He says that.
No.
all the time.
I run. Just so your listeners understand, I run a lot of our business concepts past Art. Not only a great broadcaster, but he's got a really strong business mind, and I've leaned on that in a big time way for the last 24 years. So Art, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Bob, thank you for taking my place.
Yeah. Sometimes Art gets frustrated. I think he said, "Oh, not him again."
To fill.
Yeah, not him again. What does he want now? But good solid advice from a strong mentor, Art, and that's what you've been to me,
Wow.
and it means a lot. Thank you.
Been a good friend, and I mean, there are people come into your life that you never would have thought of. You don't know them, and all of a sudden they're in your life.
Yeah.
And become a huge part of your life. And you, Dick, and the whole hockey family have become that way.
Yeah, well, Carolyn, my wife, thinks the world of you, and it's been you're part of the family, Art, and it means a lot to all of us.
Yeah. You don't have a job, by the way, Bob. You have an addiction. It's going to be an addiction.
That's
Trust
what I was
me.
told.
Oh, that's very true, actually.
I was told that I'd have so much fun at work that I'd never want to leave.
It does. It gets into your blood, and you can't let it go. No, there's no question. It is an addiction. I agree with that, Art.
So first of all, have there been any changes in the OHL coming up for 25, 26?
Very little. There's in terms of, I mean, it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The biggest change, of course, is we're dealing with is the NIL, and the NIL is alive and real in our league as well. The NCAA, just so your listeners understand, there's going to be about $600,000 at all the major universities that go to their hockey programs. It's $20.5 million goes into the sports directly out of the university, and of that, about 3 to 3.5% of that is going to go into the hockey program. So each hockey program there is going to have $600,000 to spend on athletes. We're going to be battling that for the next couple of years because we can't compete with that.
No, and that's to me, well, there's two things. I thought the NIL, in its basic concept, was not a bad idea because the universities are making a fortune off these kids.
Yeah.
The part that really upset me was the portal.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, loyalty's out the window.
Yeah.
Forget it.
That's right.
The dollar is the loyalty.
Yep.
And so, you got a superstar at University A, and all of a sudden he sees an extra $1 million at University B. Goodbye. And I think it's so wrong.
It is Ohio State football program. They're saying they're spending $35 million in NIL. Who can compete with that? I mean, it's so that now universities like Michigan are going to have to follow suit, right? And it's really, I think it's going to be the downplay of NCAA sports. They got to fix it, and eventually, it's going to have to get fixed, or they're going to ruin their sports.
But money in sports, and I'll give you a perfect example in golf. And talking a couple of years ago, I had probably about an hour-long conversation with Corey Pavin, who's an ambassador for Dow.
Yep.
And he was at Dow Championships. And this was right when Liv came along. And I said, what do you think about it? He said, I have to be honest, I'm neutral. Because he said, there's a lot of players that will go over to Liv in their first tournament, they'll be set for life.
Yep.
It's all about money.
Yep.
And, has Liv ruined the game? Apparently not.
We can't blame the athletes for
you can't blame the athletes
for doing what they're doing. But you can blame the administration that is allowing this to happen because it's destructive.
Well,
and it's not going to. It can't. There's no way it can sustain itself because you're going to have the 4 or 5 universities that compete, and then they're going to have the rest of them, and that's not healthy at all.
Yeah, well, I've never been a great fan of the NCAA, so we'll leave it there.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Art. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Bob, are you on staff in earnest now?
I'm just gonna have a ball. That's all I can say. I'm gonna have a ball doing what I'm doing, working with these great people. I've been working with them for the past 5 years anyway, and it's really